Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Series. We're here tonight for the third to final round of the championship. We've got 3 15-minute races in store for you in this paramount round of the season. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Tyler Campbell. Marco Babner is bringing you this awesome stream on Apex Racing TV. And Tyler, we head to a Silverstone Circuit, which is a very wide, which is what I usually think of this place. Also very slick as well, so not a whole lot of grip for these drivers. Could be an interesting one. The races around here are usually very action-packed with the long straights in particular.
Yeah, the wide nature and long straights and fast winding corners that make up Silverstone really create a environment of strategy where that strategy is a necessity. Learning where to place the car in order to push your rival just to change their angle of attack just enough for you to give you a run going down the straight so you can attack into places like Stowe. It's going to be a really interesting change compared to the courses that we've seen these drivers compete on previously. So I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly what they can make of these differing conditions tonight.
Yeah, well, it should be a very good one. We have got quite a start up for grabs championship at the moment. Matteo at the top there, and drop scores always make things complicated. Currently a drop score is being applied, and Matteo's drop score is absolutely phenomenal. So even if Marteau has a bad round in these final 3 meetings, his drop score's so good that he'll get like a real good kind of counting score. So Marteau really needs 2 bad meetings to the end of the season in order to allow Tobias Olsen back in, and Marteau's form recently has been absolutely phenomenal, so really looks strong for that title, for defending his title, of course, the defending champion. Olsen up there in 2nd place. Larsson's been in great form recently, up in 3rd, and then a bit of a gap back to his teammate Gestenbach and Beer, rounding out the top 5. In the amateurs, though, it is anyone's game still. Glamsetter at the top. Negretti's had the pace for most of the season, but is a runner-up at the moment. Philip Russell has been improving. Boberg showed good signs last week, so could get himself back into play. And even Helgerud and Schnell aren't totally out of the mix, so really keep an eye out on those red-striped drivers on the timing tower, and also the decals as well, because that is a very high competitive championship, as we are currently in the early stages of qualifying. Not too many laps that these drivers get to set, but I think the first lap times are just about to be pumped in by the top drivers.
Yeah, we can see now, actually, looks like we're going to be following around with Marteau as he wraps around here through Stowe. Olsen posting a 151.8, Fournier 52.2, Pennington 52.4. Looks like very close so far, but tires still getting warmed up, drivers still getting comfortable. I imagine we'll start seeing probably somewhere around the mid to low 50s by the end of qualifying here.
I think that's a very good shout, because yeah, we do see that every single time, and these drivers fuel up for the whole session. They just get faster and faster and faster, particularly their first to second lap. A good half a second advantage you usually get, and then maybe a couple more tenths off on each of the next couple. You can see Schnabel there, up there in 7th place. He's making his debut out here tonight, so best of luck to Schnabel to get a good result. And he's currently top of the amateur drivers. Not bad, albeit quite a bit of field spread from the drivers. We should have about 26 of them out here tonight at Silverstone. Really good field, and just a reminder as well, B format tonight, so 15-minute races throughout. Apologies, no, 2 25-minute races, my bad. A format, so 2 25-minute races tonight with a 6-car burst grid for race 2. Which is a little bit different to what we saw at Red Bull Ring last time out. We're riding on board with Olsen at the moment, trying to absolutely put everything into this one, heading into Stowe Corner 1, the most paramount corners on the track.
Yeah, Maggots and Beckett's here, super tricky in order to get proper, especially as you come on the exit, going down the straight. Just trying to keep the power all collected and not scrub too much on the exit with those front tires. It can make or break a lap very significantly. It can hamper you even up to like 5/10, I'd say, going down the straight if you're not able to line up that exit properly.
Oh, it is close between the top 2. Marteau improving by about half a second as we were expecting. Olsen also improving. Pennington up to 4th place, albeit still with many drivers to set a lap time. This is really fantastic stuff at the moment as Westerhoff goes to the top. So excellent lap there from Stephen Westhoff-Smith, now to the top of the amateur drivers. That's a good effort. It's currently a Dutch 1-2, as we've seen a couple of times this season. Still more improving, Zuayen, Gestenbakken, and we're getting fairly close to those mid-50s that you were talking about just before, Tyler.
Yeah, with just under 4 minutes left in the session, I imagine we'll start seeing a couple of drivers trying to gain some space. You can see that everybody is kind of nice and tight right now. They're trying to see what advantages they can get in the slipstream, but I think eventually here, give it another 30 seconds as we kind of have them wrap around and get set up for another lap. We'll see them back off a little bit to try to make some space for a run. We'll start seeing those times drop just a little bit more. Interestingly enough, we've got the amateur leader, Glamsetter, still hasn't set a fast lap yet. Still 7 seconds off of first place. It'll be interesting to see if he can put a lap together, whether or not he is just struggling at the moment. But I imagine he just needs to get some energy into those tires and get them working for him.
Yeah, I expect him to get a bit further up there. I mean, Christian's not the fastest qualifier usually, but he can usually be 3rd or 4th in the amateurs, so I expect him to be fighting for a top 12 by the end of this one, as Marteau ran in the final corner. He's got one more lap to go. Not everyone's going to get one more lap to go, but Marteau's got plenty of time, and he improves and went down to a 50.784. Westerhoff is much further around the lap, so we're going to have to wait a while to see what his response is. And Westerhoff will have time himself to do one extra lap, as Fournier improves Pennington. That moves Olsen down to 5th position, so Olsen really needs to get a good lap last time round. Westerhoff improves. He's 1/1000th of a second behind. Incredible stuff. Just behind Kai Thiago Marteau. It does not get closer than that, and they've got one more attempt to set.
That was Aiden Howard going off track just a moment ago, just kind of losing it, entering in the corner, rear overtaking him. Really tricky to keep it all together, especially when you're pushing the limits of the car now. We're watching on board here. Looks like we are following along with Rosenkrantz, Helgerud. Sorry, number 226. Thiago Reiser.
Yeah, Reiser currently in 18th place. Great lap there from Rosenkrantz, though, to move up into 3rd position. Currently 3/10 off the pace, which is very impressive for an amateur driver. Now, Roggenbuck ran in the final corner. He's not going to have time to do another lap because you've got to complete your lap before the 10 minutes is up. So he has run out of time. That's going to be it for Roggenbuck. So disappointing qualifying for him to be outside the top 20, as we see Marteau trying to get anything more that he possibly can in order to shore up that pole position. It looks like it's going to be a two-way battle. It doesn't seem like anyone else, and that's also can really find some great pace. I think it's going to be Marteau versus Westerhoff here. Can Marteau find any more pace through Vale, through Club, to try to extend that qualifying gap? Just one more corner to go. It looks very neat and tidy for the reigning champion, for the championship leader as well. He crosses the line and he improves again. 1.4 tenths of a second. Westerhoff needs to improve. Also moves up to 3rd position now, but a while back from the pole sitter. Here comes Westerhoff then, around the final corner. I'm not seeing very good sectors right now for Westerhoff. He's run a little bit wide as well. I don't think this is going to be an improvement for him, and it is not. I think it was invalidated lap time, so he will probably line up in 2nd position for this.
Man, that was a very tight end to qualifying there, with only 5/10 splitting the top 6. As we know, we'll go reverse grid into the second race of this evening. 2 25-minute races if you're just joining us tonight. About to line up on the grid to begin the first round of this evening. It's going to be a really interesting race. Lining up on the front row of the grid, we've got Marteau and Westerhoff, followed by Olsen and Zuijn. Rosenkrantz and Fournier bring up row 3. Pennington, Smith, Larson and Beer, and then Schnabel making his debut alongside Chuck Morrow, the American, in the 190. In the back half of the grid, we've got Russell, Gestrombachen, Glamsetter, Boberg, Malishev, and Helgerud. In 19th and 20th, we've got Reiser and Howard, Roggenbuck, Snell, Rasmussen, and then Negretti, starting possibly from the pits, having not qualified. Chani and Riley also following up in the back half of the grid.
Yes, I think you're right about that one. Yeah, Negretti, Rasmussen and co. Starting from the pits for this one after getting penalties from previous rounds of the championship. In fact, Charney has got to serve 2 pit lane starts tonight, so he'll also be starting from the pits for race 2. Yeah, looking at this grid at the moment, Tyler, I mean, Marteau on the top. Do you think this is going to be a slipstream race? Do you think Westerhoff will just be able to stick in the slipstream, or do you think Marteau will be able to break that draft?
You know, I think this is going to be a competition of strategy, no doubt. And with that being said, yeah, I think Slipstream is going to be the name of the game. Timing everything out, especially with how tight the field is. I imagine we're going to see a little bit of withholding from some of these top drivers, especially with how much experience that Marteau has really shown in previous races, knowing when to push and when not to push. It's going to be quite the battle, I think, especially when we see these guys really starting to play chess with each other at 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, should be a good one. Perfect amount of cars for this. We're not quite wrapping around the final corner, which is nice to see. So everyone gets a straight start here. Marteau from the pole position. It's another Dutch 1-2 on the grid. What can Olsen do to try to peg back some points in the championship? We're about to get race 1 underway here at Silverstone. The lights go out. Marteau with a strong start. Decent start from Olsen as well, but it's actually barely even from the top 3. Zoyan looking racy up the inside, as here comes Westerhoff with a good second stage of the start. He pulls ahead, able to go side by side for the moment are the 2 leaders. Westerhoff with the inside line heading into the hairpin, and then they'll head into the loop next onto the Wellington straight. Marteau defending really well, plenty of space for these F3 cars as Westerhoff spins around, and he's going to take out Olsen as well. I think Zoyan unfortunately got contact out of that one as well, so a few big names there getting hit out right at the start. Pennington moves up to 2nd place and Larson is up to 3rd.
Man, pandemonium at the beginning here. Everybody's seeing, as we're on board now with Beer, just holding tight to the rear wing of the guy in front of him. It's really intense at this point in the race because all you're trying to do is hold the car under control. Cold tires, lots of dirty air. It's just all about, it's like a battle royale almost, just trying to hold your position and maybe not lose too many positions as you just try to fight to get your tires to come alive.
It seems like Rosenkrantz, who qualified so well, did Rosenkrantz. Unfortunately, he's had a problem as well. He got contact, I think, in all that mess. So I think that was pretty much 2nd down to 5th, all with problems right there. And it's really opened up this field quite a bit. Pennington up 5, Larson up 6, Schneebel and Maurer up 7 each, Russell up 7. So super messed up, and you can see how many amateurs are now in the top 10. Riley seemingly going a little bit slow as well, as we are seeing Schnebel in his debut battling Kitzel Larson at the moment. Larson just about fending that one off, but he's under pressure from the amateur.
Yeah, the German Schnabel is really coming off strong tonight, showing really how strong he is, even though it is his debut. Definitely not a rookie title should be assigned to him. He's really showing that he's able to, stick up there with the fastest currently. As it looks like Smith has entered pit lane, dropping down the timing leaderboard there, and Glamsetter is off as well. That's absolute disaster for him. Looks like we've also got other amateur who's competing for the championship, Negretti, starting from the pits, and he's moving forward. We're now backing up here to see what happened with Glamsetter. Rounding the corner here, it looks like he's probably going to lose the rear, and yeah, it's just going to overtake him. Real easy to do here with just the fast corners, and he's so eager to get on the throttle.
Well, Glamsetter's had a good chance at building up that gap a bit more over Negretti for this race 1. And he's kind of missed that chance through a sort of mistake, and it's tended to be Negretti with the mistakes so far this season, but that time it was all the Norwegian, and he's down to 22nd place. Drivers do get a faster pair, remember, in this series, so they can head on into the pits, get their car fixed, and get back out on track. We're riding on board with Westerhoff, who I'm almost certain was going to be out of the race, or at least needing a faster pair earlier on, because he made big contact, but he has got a lot of damage. You can see the front wing of that car really shouldn't be there anymore, but as is with the current damage model for iRacing, it's kind of hanging on and just very deformed, and he is going to have to let Fournier go past it. And of course, Fournier is a very competitive driver himself, so it's no shabby for Westerhoff, but this will be particularly frustrating for him because of course he started on the front row of the grid, and it's a top 6 reverse for race 2, and at the moment Westerhoff is a long way away from that.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go, almost 7 seconds to make his way up to 6th place. Russell currently holding that prized spot. As we flash back here into Westerhoff challenging for the corner and not giving it up. Looks like maybe he is finally going to be relinquishing that spot as he now is creating a train. Oh, and loses the rear and accidentally collects another driver. Maybe this is the accident from earlier.
This is the lap 1 incident, and Westerhoff just losing the rear tyres under traction and really leaving absolutely nowhere for many of the other drivers to go, and that is why we have quite a different grid to what we had, or quite a different order to what we had on the grid earlier on. Thiago Reiser, the Swiss driver, trying to get past Boberg at the moment, and of course with some of the amateur drivers struggling, as Beers just got past Russell, it seems like, ahead, as Reiser's going to try to go the long way round here. Not quite able to do it. Well, actually no, he has very good speed mid-corner, And well, this is some of the best sections of track here at Silverstone. Plenty of opportunities for alternative lines, and still Boberg staying ahead. But with Blamset having a spin, with Negretti starting from the pits, real good opportunity for Boberg and Russell to take some points out of those top two in the Amateur Championship. So yeah, do watch out, see if they could get a big points, albeit past Russell. But yeah, still a good top 7 at the moment for the British driver.
Marteau really pushing out his gap as well. 4 seconds almost between him and Pennington now. So he sounds like he can breathe a little easier now, as we're still watching Reiser fighting for this position. Tooth and nail with Boberg. Just doing his very best to stay in it here as they go battling side by side into Stowe. Looks like maybe Thiago got the advantage there. Falls back behind, tries to get back into that slipstream and challenge again.
Yeah, almost has a bit of inevitability, this one. Reiser is so close around so many corners, and there are so many overtaking chances around the circuit, particularly in these Formula 3 cars, because this Abbey section, you can just hear a slight lift there, but it's not much of a corner. You can still kind of carry the speed through the second parts of it, as here is Boberg just running a little bit wide, also just behind Helgerud, being caught by Fournier. Westhoff really dropping off the back of Fournier now after being overtaken earlier on. So he seems to have absolutely no pace with that damaged front wing from earlier on. No chance of him getting into the top 6, it seems, as here comes Fournier. No move ahead from Reiser, but Fournier able to get that one stopped, and up to 11th place, and he's got, well, I think Beer is probably too far away, so probably not the reverse grid for Fournier, but I can see him maybe get to the top 8.
Yeah, still plenty of time here in this race, only 7 minutes into the 25-minute contest. It's going to be really interesting here, because these guys are really just now starting to get the heat in their tires, and we're going to start seeing a little bit of that chess being played, like we were saying before, as Negretti moves up the inside, going into Copse. Taking a very, very smart line, presenting himself early on, and just getting the pass done. Very professional move done by him. And yeah, so good move right there. And seemingly Olsen really struggling, of course, probably with some damage for himself at the moment. You can see the 191 quite having some problems right there. Rasmussen has his car. His lap times are not particularly good for Nicholas Rasmussen. In fact, he started from the pit lane, did Rasmussen, so that's why he's so far down. Top quality driver, Nicholas. I mean, I always compliment him on stream, but yeah, proper veteran on iRacing, and he is looking to get past Ingo Schnell currently. 42 Sim Studio. He just has to wait behind into Abbey, but it's not going to be too long till he's past, you feel like. However, Negretti's right on the tail and nearly running into the back of Schnell. Right there is Rasmussen. Schnell goes all the way off the track. He needs to try to get back onto the circuit nice and safely, and that's just about what they manage. That was super close. Not necessarily the smartest decision to stick in his nose there after making a mistake. Sometimes you just have to learn how to let it go after you've, kind of screwed the pooch a little bit. Heavily under pressure, though, totally understandable in those circumstances. But sometimes you gotta have to just kind of give up your race for the sake of safety.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, the finishing results for this race do set the grid for race 2, so you really want to avoid having any collisions, which sends you further down the pack. Great to see the Charney supporters. Always fantastic to have you guys watching along. We love the fan clubs. If you are watching along right now, do let us know you are supporting. You can see the fan clubs out in support. This is closed in a little bit now because Boberg was able to get past Howard then, and Reiser also wants to get past Howard. They're a long way away from Russell, who's well up the road. Another 5 seconds, best part of 5 seconds ahead. Reiser's looking quicker, and this could be an opportunity to move heading into the club chicane. He's a little bit later on the basis, almost asking to go past there, didn't really commit to it, and he's going to have to wait a bit longer.
Tries to take the long way around, get a little bit of an extra run. This is going to be a really intense battle because he's got to be careful of Fournier, who's also eager to get by behind Riser as you see him move and present himself on the inside. Not quite going for it yet, but definitely telling him that he's there. Boberg is going to be doing everything he can to take advantage of this distraction and just try to eke out that gap away from Howard as quickly as he can. Howard just going to be eyes front at this point, just trying to make sure that he can keep pounding down the time. Flashing back here, looks like we're watching Morrow.
Yeah, he was running in 5th place, was Chuck Kamara, but he's dropped down, and that is why. The tyre's up to temperature now, but no relief from that tricky traction zone coming out of the loop. And now he is down to 7th place as Chuck Kamara, so not within the reverse grid places. Top 6 get reversed for race 2, remember. So Russell now in those places, which would be fantastic for him. Beer having problems. Now I think this is a connection issue for Florian Beer, and this could change things once again and Mario back into those top 6. But Beer magically reappears, so well, don't do that again now, Florian. We need to see you more on track.
Yeah, I did a little bit of teleportation there, maybe to try to avoid some unforeseen obstacle on track. Who knows?
I mean, that's heads-up driving, if that is the case, as I don't think this is going to be heads-up driving from Alex Roggenbuck, because he was in I think he was in 22nd place. I think he's still in 22nd place. We're running 2 wide there, the Luffield, and manages to continue on his way at least.
Yeah,
Larson
I kept
in the pits. What is this? Has he put quali fuel in, I wonder?
7 laps in, yeah, 11 and a half minutes into the race. This would be just at the end of the quali fuel limit.
Helgerud seems to be in the pits as well, so have they both forgotten to take fuel? Did they think that this was going to be a 15-minute race, perhaps? Of course, they haven't got to that distance yet, but this is very odd. And also Gestrich back in as well, so bizarre stuff at the moment, and that is dreadful news for Kittel Larson. And it promotes Schneebel up to 3rd position now.
Yeah, Morrow gets that 6th position back, now in great position for race 2 if he can finish out the remaining 13 minutes of this race in good form. He's got about 4 seconds behind him to Boberg, but Boberg putting down a charge after being able to separate and get some clean air. And we're on board now watching Strumbachen as he's barreling down the pit straight here.
Seemingly nothing there for Strumbachen, but yeah, trying to find a reason really for him to come into the pits as he did. And he's now actually a lap down. And Larson took an absolute age in the pits. So I'm not sure what's going on there with all the IGL coatings cars. They are currently the championship leaders, but not through that type of driving. Also seen some smoke being kicked up. It seems like everyone is still on their way. Fournier up ahead of Howard now, so he's up to 8th position. Howard now going to be overtaken by Reiser, who's really struggled to make the move so far. Reiser looks very quick, but he was right on the tail of Boberg earlier on, but just because he's been stuck behind Howard for so long, he's really lost touch. Now he does get past. He's up into the 9th position.
He's got about a second between him and Fournier, but he's going to have to make sure that he defends against Howard, because Howard is definitely not going to want to let that go. On board now with Rasmussen as he's battling with Malishev for 12th position, going down the straight in the slipstream. He's going to have a great opportunity here coming up. If he can just bide his time through Maggots and Beckett's, he might have an opportunity to attack and stow. Great combination of corners there. Just takes so much concentration to be able to hold things through places like the loop. Incredibly difficult traction zone there for sure.
Seems to have absolutely nailed it that time though, Rasmussen, and he is on a charge, and he can see probably 7th place up to grabs, and potentially even a reverse grid pole if there's a collision up ahead. We're only just over halfway through this race 1 of the evening. Another 25-minute race to come later on. And a reminder once again, the top 6 will be the top 6 from the race 1 results will be inverted to make the grid for race 2, so really important those places. Schnabel actually dropping into the clutches now of Russell, and Schnabel seems to have lost quite a bit of time in recent laps. In fact, he lost 6 seconds on that last lap. So a big mistake there from Schneider. He was ahead of Beer, in fact, but he's just on a 58.8, so 6.5 seconds lost. And it seems like this is how it happened.
One of the hardest things about sim racing is maintaining your concentration. We can see here that, it looks like there is the mistake as he was just carrying way too much speed through the corner, really sending it. And it looks like Johnny has had disaster as well. We're going to snap back here and see exactly what happened here. On board with Johnny as he's following in behind here, maybe just takes too much speed. Oh, it looks like he wasn't able to get the car stopped and out of the way in time. Really unfortunate for Johnny having to suffer the consequences of another driver's mistake.
Yeah, that was a disappointing turn of events. Riley was the driver who spun in front, and as you say, pretty much no time to get out of the way. So Schnabel's made this one a bit tricky for himself. He should have the pace though on Russell. You can see he's still keeping that little bit of a gap. I don't think I'll have the pace to catch up to Beer, and Florian Beer, our amateur champion from last season, but he's really built on that this season and has upped his form, and so running strongly up there in third position. Currently, as we now check in on Rasmussen, he's going to get past Westhoff. So Westhoff with damage, of course. He's still trying to fight it, right? He doesn't want to give up here, does Stephen, but I think this is very much going one way, because Rasmussen was half a second faster on that last tour round, and he is now past. Meanwhile, Fournier getting past Boberg. They are neck and neck. Boberg actually staying ahead. Good job. Stays in 7th.
Fighting tooth and nail, these guys, as we're starting to approach the final 10 minutes of this first race here. It's going to be really tricky, because now that the tires have fully warmed up, these guys are going to be pushing hard to try to get these positions. We're going to start seeing a couple more mistakes, I think, before the end, and see this timing table swap up. Dropping down now here with Chuck Morrow as he's fighting with, looks like is that Russell that he is defending against. Tight battle between these two, only 4/10 separating the two of them. Morrow having moved up from that 6th position, trying to eke out in front. Doesn't look like he is concerned with trying to have that 6th place spot, as it looks like maybe Howard has now locked up and has lost a couple of positions here, dropping now down to 12th.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse as well. He could have easily lost a front wing, because Howard, who has fought really resiliently so far, having a very good race, but you can see how totally, he was just so tight onto the corner there, and slowed up significantly. So he drops from 10th down to 12th, and down to 5th place in the amateurs. Just a demonstration of the pace that Martel has had so far, close to a second a lap faster. Most laps at the moment, fastest lap as well with 50.7. Most laps in the 50s, so absolutely mega stuff from the championship leader at the moment. Quick shout out as well to Virtual Racing School, who is one of the sponsors for this series, one of the title sponsors for this series, of course. Virtual Racing School with over 50 data packs for both road and oval racing, setups, track guides, one-on-one coaching, and amazing data analysis software as well, which really enables you to pinpoint exactly where you're losing time to the pros. So do check out Virtual Racing School. There's a link to them in the description below. As we were seeing an absolutely insane a couple of corners there, just behind, between Malishev, Negretti and Glamsetter. And I mean, this is still going on right now, so maybe not the best time to get a replay, but maybe a bit later we could get a replay, because there are 3 wide going through Woodcut. Managed to get through it all, and Malishev is at the front.
Absolutely barreling down the straight here, doing everything he can to hold on to the 13th position. Malishev holding the inside. Negretti trying to go around the outside, gets his nose out just in front, although he's not going to have quite the same kind of run that Malishev is going to have. He's probably going to be able to attack here, and he's just going to fall behind, trying to hold on to 14th place now, as Glamsetter is now in a striking position, taking the long way around, really being able to put down the power. I think he's going to have the advantage over Malishev going into the next corner.
Couldn't quite make it work, but Malishev going so defensive here. It's just a matter of time. Negretti sprinting away. Remember, Negretti and Glamsetter, the top 2 in the amateur championship, Glamsetta ahead of Negretti, and it looked like Glamsetta was going to comfortably beat Negretti in this race 1, but unfortunately had a spin. Otherwise I think he'd be fighting for a top 7 right now. Here is Schnell losing out to Olsen, I believe there, although no, it's actually Olsen dropping back to Schnell because Olsen's got so much damage. He's got absolutely no pace, and also Helgud there just a little bit slow, 1 lap down after the bizarre pit stop sequence we saw earlier on. 5 minutes to go in race 1.
Yeah, I'd be interested to find out more from the drivers later on after the race as far as what happened there. Really unfortunate for those guys, but I'm sure they'll rectify their mistake for race 2. We're on board now with Marteau. We saw him just eking out, well, not even eking, it's now 9 seconds between him and second place. Pennington, while also having a brilliant race and being very consistent, still 9 seconds behind the leader. But he also has a very comfortable gap to Beer behind him. So very, very split amongst the top 3. But I think that'll make for a really interesting start to race 2, as these guys are going to have to fight back from 6th after the reverse grid.
Yeah, it should be a bit more of a challenge than at least this race 1 has been for Kai-Thiago Marteau. I think he managed to take both race wins at Zandvoort, maybe a first and a second, I think, on that occasion, as you see a replay. Schnell's gained plenty of screen time so far in this one. Get to see that great 42 Sim Studio. They beat WoW and nearly into the back of Olsen, I believe that was, and that is now why he is 7 seconds behind Olsen. So a bit of respite there for the Swedish driver.
Howard locking up here. Negretti just putting on the pressure now. Only a couple tenths between them as we see Howard try to go defensive. Negretti trying to get on the inside and just trying to put down the power. We'll see him fold behind. Howard here trying to put down all the power he can. Going to use advantage of the slipstream to really try to get an advantage. Sticks his nose up the inside. It's going to take some late braking. He doesn't commit all the way. It looks like Howard gets a little unsettled there trying to hold it together. Able to keep carrying the speed though despite the really quick slip in the wheel. Negretti just trying to keep it nice and even, trying to bide his time. Seeing the effect that his pressure is having on Howard. He's just hoping, I think, now for Howard to crack under the pressure.
Yeah, and all this batsing is allowing Glamsetta to catch up. You can just see him in the background there, gaining quite a bit of time already on this lap. I think about a second faster so far on this lap is Glamsetta gained 7 tenths of a second through sector 3 out of the 5 sectors we have on this track, so it could be a 3-way battle soon. Howard really keeping so many drivers behind it. It's become a bit of a joke with a couple of the drivers in the ARA GT Championship that we have on a Sunday, where one of the drivers constantly seems to be at the front of a pack, and I feel like Howard is going to gain that reputation here as well, because he has spent the whole race defending pretty much against a variety of drivers. But he's actually got a bit of a gap now over Negretti, and he's not far behind Westerhoff either. Westerhoff, I think, just making a mistake on this lap, and he's just fallen slightly back into these drivers.
Yeah, Howard definitely has the pace to keep up. I think he's just been so focused on his mirrors. He's had a hard time looking ahead and making sure he's putting everything down for every corner he can. He's really feeling the pressure of the drivers behind. All the drivers he's fought with, from Boberg to now fighting with Negretti and soon to be Glamsetta, unless he can really kind of take a deep breath and focus on just finishing out these final 2 minutes with some consistency. He's been doing a great job of just holding the inside line and defending against all the drivers behind him. They've all just had to work and be smart and just waited until the moment that he made a mistake, just proving exactly how tight the battle is and how awesome the contest is here on Apex Racing in this Formula 3 Super Series.
So Negretti with a very good draft. He might try to pull out, go for the move into Cop's corner. This is risky stuff, but he is passed. And now off the circuit goes hard. That she should get away with that one. It might get a 1x, but as long as he doesn't get a slowdown, it's not too bad. And a much better exit there. And through goes Glamsetta as well. So Glamsetta crucially getting ahead of Negretti, which is significant for the Amateur Championship. Some smoke just ahead. Has anyone dropped it through through back hits, it seems to be alright. Mario has moved up to 4th position, meanwhile, past, in fact, Schneebels, I think, made a mistake. So Schneebels was up in 4th position, but he's down to 6th now. And is this the exact same mistake as he made earlier on?
You can see him carrying lots of speed through the corners. The rear's wanting to slip out, and sure enough, he just loses grip going over those inside curves. The little turtles just do just enough to be able to unsettle the car, especially in a high-load section like that.
And Fournier is now on his case. So Fournier might get reverse grid pole here if he can pass Schnabel on the last lap. So, wow, that would be some result for the Canadian if he could get that. Looked very unlikely near the start, as side by side here with Howard holding on. He's actually letting Glamsetter and Negretti battle a little bit behind, and that might just get him away slightly, but he's got a poor exit to the loop, and this is Glamsetter's chance.
Glamsetter goes out to the inside as Howard is vigorously defending. He's got to be careful, though, give him just enough space as they've now gone alongside. He's got to leave space for adequate racing room as they go side by side, just trying to put down the power. Really tricky spaces. You're trying to keep up your minimum speed here and then try to be able to then hold the car tight because it's so easy to wash out there, as we just watched Glamsetter do. Unfortunately, unable to get down the power. I think that Howard is going to be able to hold on to this as we see Glamsetter then go back to the inside. He's going to challenge into the final corner. Looks like Howard is able to hold on tight as we go back to Marteau here, coming across and finishing with an 11, almost 12-second lead now against the rest of the field. Let's hop back on board with Howard to see them finish up their final lap.
And Fournier has also got past Schnabel as well, so Fournier looks like he's going to get reverse grid pole, and Howard hold on to 12th position. Look at all the batsing going on just behind as well. I think it's that Rasmussen going for a move on Reiser as well. It didn't look like they were going to get through that corner, but I think Reiser was able to hold on to 8th. Russell wins in the amateur category. That's a really good win for him, and will get back some points in the championship. Reiser versus Rasmussen. Rasmussen very quick round the outside. It wasn't quite enough for him. He ended up half a tenth or a second behind. Howard doing a brilliant job there to hold off Negretti, who beats Glamsetter, and that is significant for the amateur championship because Negretti takes a couple of points out of Glamsetter's championship lead right there. Really good racing in that race. Well, I mean, it wasn't close for the lead, of course, there, Tyler, but further down the order, really, really good stuff.
There was some pretty intense battling everywhere. While we didn't necessarily see Marteau going wheel to wheel with anybody outside of the first couple laps, that's a battle of its own kind where you're fighting against, your own mind and just trying to be able to be consistent and continue to be pushing out those laps to get that lead. Big props to him. Really interesting racing from Howard. Really impressive stuff from him, doing his very best to get the best result he could, especially given the high pressure situations that we saw from everybody out there today. Really unfortunate to see some drivers suffer from a weird pit incident. That was definitely strange. Very interested to figure out exactly what happened there when we saw so many drivers run into the pits so early.
Yeah, that was an odd one, and we might get some answers to that later on. We are going to show you a commercial for one of the sponsors for this series, SDK Gaming, who provide our overlay, of course, and we're just going to show you this little trailer about the services that they provide before we'll be back with you in just a moment on Apex Racing TV. Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 Virtual Racing School Super Series. You were just watching a trailer for SDK Gaming, who really provide the best overlay, the best live timing, and the best heads-up display in all of iRacing. So do certainly check out sdk-gaming.co.uk in order to get yourself a 14-day free trial. Here are the results then. Marteau at the top 12 seconds clear, must be our most dominant race winner of the season, ahead of Pennington with his best ever result in an ARA race. Beer was in 3rd position, then it was Chuck Murray with a really good result in 4th. Philip Russell was top of the amateurs. 48 rounds out the top 6 and will get the reverse grid pole. The rest of the top 10 were Schnabel, Reiser, Rasmussen and Boberg. So of course on the most part the finishing order there, the starting grid for race 2. Marteau starting from 6th position here for race 2. we want to see a good race, and I hope I'm wrong here. But Marteau looks so strong in that race, Tyler. I struggle to see anyone beating him. I mean, unless there's like a collision on lap 1 like we saw in race 1. He just seems in irresistible form.
Yeah, I think that it's going to really come down to how this start goes off, because if it was anything like the pandemonium of that first race, I mean, it's pretty much anybody's game when it comes down to those, really first few corners. They're just so important to get through cleanly. It'll be interesting to see how many people are going to try to risk it for some extra points, and those who are going to have to play the smart game and try to hope that they're able to make something of the 25 minutes, even if they have to lose some positions early on. It can be really tricky here, and it's going to be important that everybody makes the best decisions they can, even though they'll be under some insane pressure by all the ability that we have that's on this track tonight.
Just a reminder, of course, if you're enjoying this broadcast, and well, I think you probably will be if you're a motorsports fan. I mean, if you're not a motorsports fan, then probably not. But if you are, then certainly do make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing too, so you can see all of our other broadcasts going on during the week. We're broadcasting about 20 streams every single week in a variety of different cars, ovals, rallycross, of course road racing featuring single seaters. TC will be back in a few weeks' time actually, and of course prototypes as well. Pretty much everything GTs, lots of different GT series on Apex Racing TV, so do make sure to subscribe and also click the bell button as well so you know when we go live. So Fournier then for Team Shizou on pole position. Remember, he is teammates with Marteau, so wouldn't be surprised if those two secure 1-2. Russell up there in 2nd place, great chance for some huge points for Philip Russell here in the Amateur Championship. Murray, Beer, Pennington and Marteau, and then apart from that is all the same order down to the back of the grid. Real cold tyres it seems off these starts, Tyler. It caught out a lot of drivers in race 1. I can only hope that they escape that in race 2, that they've learnt the lesson.
It's always interesting when things get shaken up, but you never want them to be shaken up when it comes down to a mistake like cold tires. It's always just disappointing and frustrating as the driver when those catch you out. But that's, all a part of going racing. Is learning how to really take control and be on top of and ahead of what your tires are going to do and how they're going to behave.
So yeah, let's see if they have learnt how they're going to behave this time round. 5 lights are on. And race 2 at Silverstone is underway. It's not a great start for Fournier, and I think Russell will have a chance heading into turn 1 into Abbey on this first lap of the race. Side by side they go, and just about staying ahead there is the Canadian. Barrow trying to nip underneath as well. Russell taking quite a wide line and drops down to 3rd position. Marteau already up to 4th place. Crucially getting past Beer right off the launch as Fournier makes a break for it at the moment, trying to get away from the rest of the field. We've got a couple of drivers running slightly wide. I think Westerhoff has gone off. Hopefully he hasn't got too much damage, but now he's got a lot of damage because he gets airborne, and that will probably be suspension damage, and that rounds off a miserable couple of races for Stephen Westerhoff tonight. Russell trying to come back against Murray here, and Russell's underneath Murray, and I think he is going to be passed back up into 2nd position, but all that fighting has enabled Fournier to open up a 1.2 second gap.
Russell just trying to hold on here. He's going to be focused on trying to close that gap as quickly as possible. Morrow very close behind, as Boberg, having been fighting tooth and nail as well for 8th position, now taking 7th and swapping back with Pennington as well, losing now a position to Schnabel as we see big accident in the background. Looks like Howard just lost the rear of the car, unfortunately now falling down into the back of the grid. 24th place now for Howard. Really unfortunate situation for him. Mauro also consequence of that, back down to looks like he's now pulled over, maybe possibly resetting, having taken some damage as a result of that incident.
Odd one for Mauro. They seem to cut the entry to Maggot, so yeah, big problems for him as we got. I mean, this is a lot of cars in a very short amount of time. As far as I can see, Negretti is out the front, so you can just see he's kind of just clear of it all. And then behind him is Rasmussen making his way up past Glamsetter right there. Larson also making his way through. Great stuff. Larson actually up 8 places. Smith is up 12 places to 14th now. And but 9 seconds off the lead after just one tour of the circuit, showing how much he's had to be fighting. Smith now getting past. Look at that, 3 wide, almost into the chicane. We've definitely got 3 wide now. I even have 4 wide because there's going to be contact once. Fortunately, we didn't have contact twice, and it's Rosenkrantz. After qualifying so well, both races have gone very badly.
Really unfortunate. Lots of contact here. Oh, and we see people now really unsafely rejoining, spinning into oncoming traffic. Definitely not something I would recommend at any point. It's always best to just really stay in one spot as you know, if your competitors are oncoming. A predictable car is a stopped car. There's no doubt about that. Very scary moment as we're now on board with Marteau, who's closing the gap on Russell. A 2-second gap from Russell to Fournier, but only 6/10 separating Russell and Marteau. Marteau's just really going to be showing that, you know, the huge pace advantage that he's had tonight, as he's just chewing up the gap between him and Russell. I imagine he'll be by him in a lap or 2.
Yeah, I think that's likely with the pace that Marteau seemed to have in race 1. Gap hasn't got too big to Fournier. Still got plenty of time as here we go. Already Marteau with the overspeed, and Russell realising he's a smart driver as Russell. He knows that there's no point in battling that one. Could get an overall podium, which would be a huge result for him. Pennington, meanwhile, I think just staying ahead of Reiser. Reiser having a really good evening. 8th place in race 1, up to 5th so far in race 2. Rasmussen not changing gears. That's steering damage for Rasmussen. I don't know how he's driving that car so quick, because under brake that must be an absolute pain. But the Alcantech NHR driver is doing a good job. That is a good 10 degrees of steering difference.
Wonder if he banged wheels with somebody at some point, or maybe hit a sausage curve just the wrong way. Really unfortunate to get that sort of damage, and really tough to manage that through a race, especially as how much this track develops. And with only 5 minutes in the race, actually only 4.5 minutes in, there's still lots of race left to be had, so I think that we're going to see more consequences. Oh, as we see big damage, big accident there from contact between Howard and another driver. It looks like we're going to flash back here and figure out exactly what happened.
This was this was Rockenbach, so not Rosenkrantz. And that is, yeah, I don't think he needs to be an expert to figure out whose fault that one was. But of course, you're fighting one driver, and then all of a sudden you see another driver just ahead of you, and totally misjudging that one, Howard, and that makes his second race go much worse. So the drivers, at least at the front, are starting to spread out. 2.1 seconds is the gap between Fournier and Marteau. 2 teammates, remember, almost certainly running the exact same setup at the moment. And well, Fournier, at least on this lap, is holding his own. Fairly even for the first 3 sectors. Into sector 4, Marteau gains 2/10, so that's quite a big chunk out right there. If you can keep that up, you will be able to catch up by the end of the race.
heads down now as everybody's settling into some mid-race pace here. We'll probably see this for the next 15 minutes or so before things will start to lighten up again. We see a really tight fight here between 9th to 13th here. It looks like we've got a lot of drivers really close overall pace as we see just Grumbachen doing his very best to stay on the back of Glamsetter. Really tight battle.
Yeah, looking like a very tight one at the moment. Strumbachen, Strumbachen. Trying to get these pronunciations right. Strumbachen in 13th position. Oh, here we go. It's going to be a change for 3rd place. So Pennington looking really quick, and I love that livery, and it's particularly apt for this Silverstone Circuit. The kind of Caterham colours, or Norwich City colours, or Brazil colours. It's used quite a bit. I think Bahamas as well might use it. Anyway, Pennington up to 3rd position in the green and yellow liveried Dallara F3 car. He's having to get defensive. Russell wants to fight this one. I'm not sure if this is in Russell's best interest because he's got the next amateur driver of Schnebel only just behind, and I don't think he's really got the pace to battle Pennington. He did battle for a couple of corners, but now just waits behind in 4th place.
Yeah, if it were me, I'd be just trying to stick on the back of Pennington and taking much advantage of the slipstream as possible because Schnabel is on a charge. As you can see him just carry so much speed out onto the straight here. He's now going to be within effective slip range or slipstream range. Going to get a good advantage going into Stowe. Especially since Russell is competing with Schnabel for the championship and not with Pennington being in completely different championships. Definitely think it was not a smart move to try to compete with him in that occasion.
So it's been a weird evening for the Amateur Championship because new viewers to this series wouldn't have really figured out that it's Negretti and Glamsetter at the top of the standings. Glamsetter ahead of Negretti, and yet they really haven't featured anywhere near the front of the amateur class. Negretti, to be fair, in this race too, very good pace, and if you can get past Boberg, then maybe you could still win this amateur race too. We'll have to wait and see. A final shout out, by the way, to Apex Racing Academy for also being another title sponsor for this series. Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs with setups, track guides, weekly groups, coaching sessions in all those data packs. So that is all those resources are useful for each week of the official series in the F3 cars, and this series follows the F3 schedule as well, as we see a lovely move there from Strumbachen and trying to get past his fellow countryman Glamsetter. Do check out apexracingac.com for more details, and that's some fantastic coaches really help you find those extra few tenths of a second, and a big thanks to Apex Racing Academy for providing every one of these drivers with a 1-month subscription. As I don't think you learned that from Apex Racing Academy. Glamsetter off the track, championship leader in the ANS. That is a big shame for him, and I believe that was Strumbachen who made contact with him.
Really unfortunate turn of events there for him, as we're now watching Boberg doing his best to fight with Negretti. Negretti getting the advantage on this occasion here, now getting a 10th up over him, trying to take the outside in the Gulf colors almost, the blue and orange, the light blue and orange of his Dallara F3. All fighting very quick as he has to make a move off to the inside suddenly, trying to avoid Boberg, as Boberg then gets to carry as much speed as he wants through that corner and gets the advantage again. Negretti now looking behind him in his mirrors at Larson, who's got a nice run on him. He's going to have to make a decision whether or not he wants to try to stay on the offensive and keep focusing on Boberg in front, or whether or not he needs to make a defensive move on Larson. Larson just trying to bide his time. Looks like he's trying to carry as much speed as he can. Kind of looks up the inside as Boberg takes too much speed and loses the rear end, giving up that position to Negretti and Larson.
It's a wide corner there, but it looked like he was approaching that as though it was Stowe right there, not a hairpin, and losing out considerably by it. Marteau has been taking chunks out of Fournier. 9 tenths faster a couple of laps ago, 7 tenths faster that last tour of the circuit. And well, could this be another Dublin? Should Marteau even finish on the podium here, just needs a decent result, he will have really one hand and four fingers on the title, with his drop score being so good, with Olsen having a real rubbish round tonight, not even going to be scoring points for this race too. Marteau looking like he could become a double champion, which is quite a rare feat in Apex Racing League events. I mean, Tom McMahon managed to do it. Oh, there's been another driver as well whose name escapes me, I think, at the moment. Of course, in the GT3, as in fact we have a change here, so Marseille passed his teammate Fournier, making that one very easy for him. And in the footsteps of Gates Nanga is the driver who I was thinking of, could become a double champion. And back-to-back champion as well, which is even more impressive. So he's up now, and 0.8 of a second clear straight away. Bit of a shame that we didn't see that race there, Tyler, but I understand the teamwork.
Yeah, it was a great job between those two guys. You could see that, you know, he just had such a large pace advantage. Obviously, these guys are teammates as well, so to your point, you know, they definitely would have been working together there. But now it's going to be easy breezy for Marteau as far as just nice, clean air, focusing on putting down that time. Fournier is going to be focused on trying to keep that 4-second gap between him and Pennington. It's going to be, I think, how the podium is going to finish out here at the end of the race, even though we still have another 14 minutes to go. As long as we don't have any sort of, crazy anomalies, I think that we can expect a safe finish there on the podium.
Yeah, it's pretty much impossible to stop them now, I think, as Schnebel is looking for that amateur class win. They have got a gap back to Reiser actually now, so Reiser lost 7/10 on that last lap. It was a bit closer than that, honestly, towards the Dusty racing driver, but yeah, up to 3 seconds pretty much that gap now. Oh, there you go. Mike above there showing that graph, which is one of my favourite graphs, and it's a tough battle on SDK Gaming. There are so many good ones. I love the lap comparison charts as well. Yeah, that one in the bottom right is very good as well. Yeah, Russell barely ahead at the moment. Of course, it was Schnebel who was on course for an overall podium actually in race 1. Made a couple of mistakes, however, and dropped him out to 7th position in the end. However, he's trying to make vengeance for that at the moment. He's on the outside of Russell, who is trying to defend this one. Hasn't defended so much so far tonight, but Russell does a good job there through Stoke Corner.
Russell's been holding on to this with as much might as he can. You can really see him digging into the brakes as that nose of the Dallara just like digs deep and almost scrapes along the ground. He's just waiting until the last possible moment to really get into the brakes. Excellent release of the brakes as well in transition to throttle, as you can see. Here, Russell's going to have to go defensive and hold on if he can, take the inside of the corner. Does a really great job of forcing Schnabel to try to go around the outside without giving him a clear advantage with a better race distance run.
A little bit wide there maybe for Russell. Something slightly vulnerable. And yeah, this is a great opportunity for Schnabel, and it's just so tricky to cover off the entirety of this. Like, you could probably fit best part of 8 Formula 3 cars alongside around much of this circuit. But Russell's doing amazing at the moment of making that one Dallara F3 car look very, very wide. And he's staying in that 4th position. Fortunately for them, Reiser isn't catching too quick. Well, decent. Yeah, actually, Reiser lost time on that last lap, so yeah, not making much of an impression. Larson still a bit further back as well. Schnabel with a lot of overspeed heading into Kopp's corner, but no braking air, of course. Can't really do anything with it. Now he gets a lot of overspeed again, but this is kind of one narrow part of the circuit into Maggots and Beckett's, and really no opportunity for the German there.
Just trying to get his nose out into some clean air to make sure that he had all the downforce he needed to get the front end going. He's going to be able to get nice and powered down here. Lots of overspeed. I think this is the moment that he was waiting for. Going to present himself around the outside, probably going to remain in mid-track to try to choke him out as best he can. Does have a slight little poking advantage. He's going to have to carry lots of speed and be able to run out. Maybe he's going to do an over-under here. Actually stays on the outside line. Going to turn into the inside line. We can see that he's got a bit of advantage. Turns in first. Is able to get through side by side now. Russell still in it. Not giving up quite yet. holding onto the inside, but Schnabel is going to get the lead there for the amateur win here tonight. Excellent move by him, just really determined and stuck with it. Russell still holding on. I don't think he's going to be letting go of this quite so easy. Going to have to bide his time through the next couple of corners here until he gets another opportunity to attack. Really tricky set of corners, really great driving by both drivers, and lots of respect as well. Really awesome to see.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a contender to be posted on social media. Of course, Apex Racing TV with Twitter, Facebook and Instagram accounts. And you can see little highlights like that. Over on those accounts, big crashes as well, which we'd quite like to see. But yeah, good moves, close finishes, all of that stuff, along with updates and everything that's happening on Apex Racing TV. So do make sure to check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more stuff like that. Schnabel just moving away. I mean, that's still within the slipstream here, and actually that's a good Cops corner there, so that will give the Brits some hope. This is really where it seems like Schnabel has the advantage, at least on the last lap. He seemed to be able to gain quite considerably through Maggots and Beckett's, and then to Chapel as well. And yes, seems as though Schnabel just opens it up slightly again. The 288 in his debut, of course. That gap now up to half a second. It's still the closest battle on track. I think the next closest battle is Riley versus Glamsetter a bit further down. That's for 15th position at the moment.
Yeah, really tight battle. Schnabel really doing a great job of presenting himself on his debut. Really impressed by his performance today. Definitely no doubt that he is going to be a contender, hopefully in Season 2. Given the upcoming changes to the calendar. Really excited to see that happening. Really tight battle. I think it's important to jump on board and take kind of look at the midfield here. Negretti still doing a really great job of trying to close the gap to Larson. I think that he may have a shot at tussling with Reiser at some point this evening. Malyshev doing a great job of holding off Snell and Boberg behind him, followed by Riley and Glamsetter. I think that we're going to see another battle develop here soon as well.
Yeah, I think it's, I think you're right. I think it's kind of just bubbling at the moment, and it's about to come to the boil. And this might be getting to boiling point now with Larson and Reiser. Larson, one of the fastest drivers out on circuit. I mean, of course, IGL Coating is currently leading the team's championship, and by quite a comfortable margin as well. It looks like they got that one pretty much wrapped up for this season, with Team Shizou only having one car on the most part. Yeah, Larson, unfortunately, with a real rubbish race one, was going to finish, I think, in 4th position. In hindsight, probably even 3rd position, as you might see him move up here. This would be a fantastic move. There you go. So much faster there, coming out of Cops corner than Reiser, and he is up to 6th position now. Is Larson, who, yeah, like I said, was on course for maybe even a podium in race one. Unfortunately, had to make that extra pit stop, or one pit stop. Don't make pit stops in this series, so that was very odd for him. We think maybe he took qualifying fuel, but he's up to 6th position now, 14 places up from his race start. Boberg is off the circuit, and I think he may have collided with Schnell.
That is disaster, to be sure. It looks like we're going to flash back here and find out exactly what happened. Going through Maggots and Beckett's here, just trying to keep as much grip down as possible. Oh, it looks like driver in front of him lost it. Snell lost the rear end, and Boberg just did not have anywhere to go. Unfortunately, he just had to go into the rear end of Snell in front of him.
And dare I say, that might be Ricard Boberg's chances of the championship over for this season, because he had a fairly good race one, and was probably my pick for the amateur championship, honestly, heading into this season. Unfortunately, hasn't quite ended that way, and yeah, now back to the pits. Even if he does re-enter and at least gets a few points on the board, he will be a long way back, best part of about 100 points off the championship lead, I think, after tonight. So big shame for the Swedish driver there, and as you're saying, Fortale really couldn't do anything about that one, with the driver ahead spinning. Now Negretti's got a bit more control over this, because he's got Reiser ahead. It just seems like Reiser's really struggling down the straights, and this is an open setup series. I wonder if that's the compromise that Reiser's made as he gets overtaken, does the double T racing driver, Delta 2 racing driver, apologies. So rising down to 8th position, Negretti up to 7th. And 3rd place out of the amateurs. Now this one isn't breaking up. Schnebel was able to get past Russell, but Russell has really stayed close since he's barely in the draft of this disrespect. You need to be within about 0.6 of a second to get the draft, so he's getting a little bit of time at the moment. Not too much, it seems. And Russell very much keeping the sim racing by Conrad Motorsports driver honest right now.
Indeed, he's definitely not letting him forget about himself, for sure. Schnabel is definitely just needing to focus on the road in front of him and just try to forget that Russell is there. Russell putting down an excellent lap, only 0.08 of a second slower than Schnabel. I think that if he can just try to kind of get it together and work on his pacing, he definitely has an opportunity at trying to take that position back before the end of the race here. As long as Larson does not get in the mix too quickly, because that could definitely disturb things, disturb plans for either driver, depending on how that shakes out.
Just seen that Jim Hodgson is listening along. Very happy to have you along, Jim. One of the funniest people on the planet, I think it's safe to say. So yeah, hopefully you are enjoying the show, and thanks for the kind compliments. Of course, anyone else who was enjoying the show was, oh, Russell gets a lot, so I don't know if that was maybe the wake of a lot of understeer around the middle part of Luffields there. Yeah, of course, if anyone else is liking this video, do make sure to leave a like and subscribe to Silverstone TV, then you're more likely to catch the next few rounds. We've got 2 more rounds of the championship to go. Next up is Spa, and that will be a 15-minute race, 3 15-minute races, and then the last round of the championship, it seems as though it's going to be Watkins Glen. It's going to copy the official series schedule, so I think it's going to be Watkins Glen, which should be a good finish to the season, as we don't get a bunch of pile-ups at the race start, because starting around there is tricky in the best of times, let alone on cold tyres and these F3 cars. But yeah, should we get through the first few corners there, that could be a very good end to the season, as Marteau is ending this race very impressively at 50.7. That's, I think that might be faster than what he did in qualifying.
Yeah, I think that he finished qualifying with a 50.6, something like that. So he's definitely smacking on the door of that record, possibly going to be able to beat that here in the final couple minutes. Russell just needing to get a little bit more time out of the lead in front of Schnabel, being able to do 2.5, almost 0.3 faster than Schnabel on that last lap. Definitely within slipstream range now, focused just trying to stay on the rear end of the car. He's going to have to be careful not to get caught out by the wake of the slipstream, the dirty air, that makes it so tricky to carry the speed and put down the power when you're just in the wrong spot behind the car in front of you. Going to carry wider speed, get all the air he can on the nose of the car, get on the throttle early, carry higher speed, try to get into the throttle as soon as he can, dives on the inside of the car in front of him to try to be able to put down that power. He did a better job than the last lap, but still was not able to get enough power down onto the ground in order to really make something of this opportunity. Still only 0.4 back behind Schnabel. It's going to be really tricky here, and I think it's going to come down to the wire when a passing opportunity will present itself. But Russell is just going to need to really focus and make sure that he holds it together and manages this consistent time until Schnabel finally shows some form of weakness.
It was Russell showing a little bit of weakness there through Beckett's, because he just ran a little bit wide, and yeah, I think that turbulent air, it's not too significant in these cars, but just, you know, when you're racing on the limit, it can just wash out the car slightly, and it really does compromise the exit if you have to get out of the throttle. And now that gap opening up a little bit more. Certainly good performance here from Russell, and remember, he entered this round of the championship 3rd place out of the amateurs. He's going to beat both Negretti and Glamsetter in both races here, and the 3 of them should be very close in the championship hunt heading into the final 2 rounds, as we have got the white flag out the final lap of the day here at Silverstone, and this is really the only battle going on. I'm just seeing maybe Glamsetter might catch up to Malishev by the end, so we might have to check in on that one in the final couple of corners. But yeah, really the Russell and Schnabel one is the only other close one. This man has just absolutely dominated. It's been a really good performance. We do sometimes see this, Tyler, around this circuit, quite a big difference between the top guys and the slower guys, but Marteau's just been in a league of his own. I mean, no one's got closer. Maybe in qualifying we saw some close times, but in the races he has been a second lap faster than pretty much everyone else.
Yeah, definitely a Hamilton-esque performance here at Silverstone. Excellent, consistent, and just absolute speed out there on the track. He would definitely be hard to beat, I think, by any driver worth their salt. Very impressive performance by Marteau tonight for sure. But that to be said, I can't say that I'm surprised, as he has just really brought the heat week in and week out here in this ARA F3 series.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be another race win for him, another double as well. It's going to be a full points day for Thiago Marteau, the defending champion, and really almost with the Season 4 championship as well. Marteau crosses the line, he takes race 2 and he finishes it with a fastest lap as well. That was the only apt way to cap off a brilliant evening of driving. Schnabel is trying to hold on for the amateur class win. I think he's going to do enough here. Russell's not going to have enough time to pass. So it's Schnabel who finishes in 4th place and wins in the amateur category on his debut. Now can Glamset to get past Malishev? This is going to come right down to the line. This is important for Glamset to try to get that extra point in the championship. Malishev racing for Hedgehog in the fog. You can see the checker flag very clearly now, because he rounds the final corner and he takes home that 12th place. And Glamsetter losing a few points there to his main rival Negretti in the championship. Going to be very close, like I said a couple of minutes ago. The final few drivers crossing the line right now. And yeah, we will soon be able to go through your final results. Once again, big shout out to Apex Racing Academy, to SDK Gaming, and to Virtual Racing School for sponsoring this this broadcast. As we see our race winner rounding those final few corners. Yeah, you can almost just relax now, honestly, Tyler, because he's so far ahead in the championship. It's going to be over 100 points clear with 2 rounds to go, with a drop score to spare as well. You know, you can have some fun, can Kai Thiago, and I'm sure he'll be satisfactory for that, because he was run right to the limit last season. This season looked like it's going to be a bit more comfortable.
Probably put in a lot more practice this season as well to try to make that happen. Definitely don't get the performance like he's shown tonight without investing without investing some of your own time to make sure that you can really perform when you need to.
And there are the results. It's a Team Shazoo 1-2. I think that might be the first time they got that this season. Pennington with 2 podiums, second highest point scorer tonight. So congrats to Luca, mid-season entry, but only a second meeting in fact, but really impressive stuff. Then it's Lennart Schnabel, Philip Russell, Kessel Larsen, Justin Negretti, Thiago Reiser, Aaron Smith. Rounding out the top 9, there was Mats Jestrom-Bakken, Niklas Rasmussen. Really disappointing evening for both those two. Kostas Banishev was in 12th place. Glamsetter really with that spin on lap 1 in race 1. Kind of set the tone for the rest of the evening. You wonder where he would have been had he not made that mistake. Would have probably got a top 10 in both races, honestly, if it weren't for that mistake. Riley was in 14th place. Then it was Charney, Helgerud and Rosenkrantz. Roggenbuck, the last driver on the lead lap. Then 1 lap down was Bobo, who at least scores points, but his fight for the title is surely coming to a close now. Georgi Zuayan was in 20th place. Also Schnell and Beer score points. The retirees were Howard, Olsen, whose championship maybe comes to an end as well. Maro and Westerhoff in particular, with a disappointing day, was so close to the pole position earlier on, but had a miserable race 1, and then of course not finishing in race 2 either. So hope to see those guys come back strongly for the final 2 meetings of the championship. As always, the driver's very willing to have a chat. Apparently in the GT3 trophy series, no one ever comes to have a chat, and that's got more drivers than this one. But in this one, we've always got bountifuls. So I think we'll have a chat first with Mr. Philip Russell, the brother of George Russell, of course. Isn't that right, Philip? Congratulations out there. That was a couple of very good results.
Yeah, it was fantastic actually. I was really surprised at the actual both results in these races today. I came into this thinking I'll probably be about midfield and struggling along the way, but yeah, to come away with 2 fifths overall and first and second in class in both the races. Yeah, a good weekend racing overall. So I can't complain.
I think on lap 1 in race 1, I think you gained, was it 7 places in the first in the first lap? Take us through that first lap from your perspective.
Well, I didn't get a good qualifying lap in, so I think I started 12th, but I had a pretty rubbish lap. But yeah, going into the first lap, I try to keep it clean, because I know sometimes going to the first turn 1 and turn 2, you can kind of lose the rear end with the cold tyres. So I was trying to keep out of the way of any trouble there. Then we came to corner 3, and then I saw a few cars spinning kind of at turn 4. But yeah, no, I kept it out of the carnage again, like last week in Austria, and yeah, came out in 5th. I believe after that one, and then yeah, kept it going throughout the race. I didn't want to fight too hard with the guys in the pro class, because I wanted to gain some ground on like Justin and Christian. So yeah, it was kind of a keep my nose clean kind of weekend, but came away with 2 strong results.
The championship now, and I'm frantically trying to upload the points so I can enlighten you on what the standings are. And in fact, actually, I might be able to do that. So, but basically, it's going to be very close now, because you managed to outscore both the top 2 in the amateur championship tonight. So I can reveal you are now, hold on, sliding. Here we go. You are now, drum roll, Jesus, it's taking far too long. You are now only 17 points off the lead, so I think you've cut that gap from about 40 points down to 17 tonight with 2 rounds to go. So you must be feeling quite confident that you could take this title.
Very much so, yeah. Because I think last week in Red Bull Ring, I spoke to you and I said, it's going to be a hard task. So 17 points is more realistic. Going to Spa, and then yeah, see what we can do there. But yeah, that's giving me that extra boost now. I got the pace to challenge these guys up front now. So yeah, going to Spa. Hopefully, I can get some strong results like today, and hopefully take the lead of the championship this time.
Yeah, we wish you the best of luck, Philip, and of course we wish your brother George the best of luck tomorrow in the race. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
First of all, George, you've got to give my brother a shout out for crashing today, but a great P11. But but no, again, you guys, fantastic job again. Commentary, race organisation, fantastic. I really enjoy this championship as always. And then again, Team Fordzilla, a great team to be part of and great support. And yeah, I just continue to race with you guys going forward.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the kind words, Philip. We will see you back next week.
Have a good week. Catch you later.
Philip Russell there, first and second in the amateur categories tonight, and yeah, really close in the championship. Just a quick rundown of that amateur championship. Glamsetter with 4.27, Negretti 4.25, Russell 4.10. So really anyone's game out of those top 3. Still Boberg 62 points off the lead. It's unlikely, and that bad finish in race 2 really did hurt the Swede quite a bit. Tyler, who would you like to have a chat with next?
I believe that we have got. Let's work with Mr. Howard, since he had those really intense battles there in the middle of those races, just trying to hold off those gentlemen there in the middle pack. Just really intense battling there. Lots of pressure, regardless of where you were on the battlefield tonight here at Silverstone. Mr. Howard, why don't you just take us through what your race was like and what it was like to be out there tonight?
Oof. I mean, I'm shaking like a leaf. it was definitely a fantastic race for me. And in race 1, race 2 we're just gonna ignore, aren't we? Yeah, can we just ignore race 2, please? But yeah, it was race 1, really good race. There's a lot of spinners and incidents on the first lap, so I capitalised from that. And got up to 8th. I knew I wasn't going to stay there, so I thought, just get head down, get the laps in, and just see what we could do. Ended up back down to 12th overall, I think, and I fought with I can't pronounce his name, Negro, the American fella. That's what I'm going to call him. But yeah, really good battles, defended hard, fought hard. I might have pushed the track limits a little bit, so I understand if the admin team want to give me a bit of finger whacking for that. But it was fun nonetheless, and yeah, and then race 2 was just let's just forget about race 2.
Well, you definitely had a great showing for us tonight. It was a blast watching you go to wheel with Negretti. Definitely a very
Thank you, Negretti.
Yeah, definitely an intense battle between the two of you. Even with, pushing up to that 8th place, it seems like tonight especially, it really shows that it's anybody's game as long as you can really kind of keep your head down and be prepared for the craziness that's about to happen and unfold. So how do you get prepared for for race week? Do you put in lots of practice on your own time? Do you do any AI racing or anything like that to prepare? How is it that you kind of get yourself readily steeled for race week?
Yeah, a lot of personal time. At the minute, it's not as many laps I wanted to put in during my personal time due to work commitments. But if you count driving a white van around the United Kingdom as practice, I'll definitely say that's definitely practice, I guess. But yeah, I haven't been able to put as many laps as I liked. So yeah, considering that and bearing that in mind, I'm reasonably happy with the results from race 1. And I can only apologise to those involved in race 2 who I just completely misjudged the braking and plainly took out. There's no two ways about it. It is what it is, and I won't accept any judgments or punishments that come to that. But yeah, a lot of practice, so definitely more needed for Spa, I think, next week. I'll have to try and pencil a lot more practice in.
Well, you did a really great job tonight, despite your lack of practice. Definitely showed your abilities, and I think with just a little bit more time behind the wheel, I think that you're going to really, come out cracking next week at Spa. We're really excited to have you here tonight. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Is there anybody you would like to thank you before you take off this evening?
Yes, a bit of a personal one. I'm not sure if you've seen on stream that my livery still had the wireframe on it in a couple of parts, but there's a reason for that. There is a reason that I purposely left it on. It's just to honour my friend who passed away due to cancer. His nickname was the wireframe, so just a little personal thing there. But thank you Dave, rest in peace, buddy. And thank you again to you guys as well for a wonderful organising this wonderful, awesome race. And again to Rhinos Motorsports as well. They've been absolutely ace and a great community to be involved with as well.
Well, condolences for your loss, my friend, and beautiful words from Aiden Howard this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
So I think we've got time for one more short interview, and that will be with Aaron Smith, who joins us in the commentary box now. Aaron, maybe a little bit of a summary of your season there, because that was a really good qualifying, one of your best qualifyings of the season by my reckoning, but unfortunately didn't quite go your way in race 1, better in race 2, but talk us through what happened in race 1 first.
Well, just going into just the start of the race was just me being an idiot. I accidentally flicked my pit limiter on at the start and got off to a really poor start. Then going into turn 1, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they broke mid-corner and I just ran into the back of them. Wasn't expecting such a sharp break from them. It's a racing incident. I don't think anyone's at fault for it, but they just sharply broke and I ran into the back of them, got front wing and suspension damage. Came into the pits, and didn't put my fast repair on. I accidentally unticked it, so yeah, from that point on I just thought, yeah, I'm going to be like a lap or two down, there's no point me carrying on. And I knew that I'd just have to make it up in race 2, which hopefully I think I did.
Yeah, I mean, I saw your start, and I think, well, I was kind of following your start initially, and I think it was 12 places gained in lap 1, and then you just kept on churning them away. So 9th place from 26th is must be quite satisfying.
Yeah, but you can always do better. I mean, obviously I made a few mistakes here and there. I got a like 3-second slowdown coming out of Maggots and Beckett's for slightly cutting the corner, which is stupidly harsh, but you know, I can't control that. And had I not gotten that slowdown, I probably could have finished 8th or 7th, as I was catching Negretti and the guy ahead of me. I was faster than both of them, and it's just unfortunate, but can't complain. I didn't crash this time, and finishing 9th overall from last is a pretty decent result.
Definitely. Next time out is Spa. What are your thoughts on that one?
Pretty good. I think most people like Spa. It's a nice, fast, flowing track. I think it might be a bit chaotic, especially since we have the 3-race format next time out, I believe. So that'll be absolutely mental. Everyone's sending it into La Source, La Com, the bus stop. It's going to be absolute mayhem. And down the Kemmel Straight, you're going to see some mental overtakes.
We've got our fingers crossed. Hopefully it's all nice and clean, but yeah, hopefully see some good action next time out. And is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just as usual, you got everyone at Apex for putting on the event. These series are a lot of fun. All the commentators for just giving everyone who's watching a good show. My team, Zem Racing, they've given me some great opportunities, and I love them to bits. And just anyone else who's watching.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Aaron, and yeah, best of luck in the 3 races next week.
Hey, thanks, Sam.
Aaron Smith there, finishing in 26th and 9th this evening. That pretty much wraps us up then for this round of the championship in the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 Virtual Racing School Super Series. If you've enjoyed this video, do make sure to leave a like, subscribe to Apex Racing TV so you can see more of our videos in the future, and of course check out our social media as well on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook so you can see highlights of each of our streams along with updates on what is happening on the channel. Once again, big thanks to SDK Gaming, to Virtual Racing School and to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this series, and we'll see you back next time out at Spa, of course, for the next round of the championship, and then of course Watkins Glen for the final round of the season in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Tyler Campbell and from Marco Barbonet, we will say goodbye, and we will see you next time.